it is way too early to be knowing anything about the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterbacks or to be making assumptions about the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterbacks or really anything. You know, the only conversation that you should be having is how good these guys look, how comfortable these guys look, how much development these guys have had with their wide receivers. That's the conversations to be had. There is zero indication of if there is a real quarterback competition outside of Justin Fields saying there is one, but he could say that all he wants. You know, 2 years ago, everybody and their mother said that there was a quarterback competition in Pittsburgh. There wasn't. Kevin Dotson let us know that day one. There is not a quarterback competition here. The Steelers make those decisions. Justin Fields does not, unfortunately. Doesn't mean that there won't be one. Doesn't mean that things will not change in July. What it means is that May 29th is way too early to have any idea how good the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback situation is going to look, how bad it's going to look, who's going to win it, and if somebody is going to get benched during the season. That being said, everybody and their mother wants to make a hot take about the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback situation, and everybody wants to talk about how poorly Russ is going to play and how Justin Fields is going to eventually become the starter. This one's from NFL.com's Jody Batista saying, quote, that minimal investment by Pittsburgh in Russell Wilson means that there will be little to keep him from turning to Fields if Wilson struggles. Arthur Smith is an experienced and successful offensive coordinator, but any struggle from Wilson and playing against the defenses in the AFC North gives quarterbacks plenty of chances to struggle, will open the door for Fields, whom the Steelers would almost certainly like to see play before having to decide on his future. I'm calling it. Wilson wins the starting job out of camp, but he won't hold on to it, and Fields will have terrible towels waving for him. That follows a string of people who want to say the same thing, that Russell Wilson is going to get benched. It is way too early to know if Russell Wilson is going to get benched. We can't even have that conversation until we watch him play a regular season game or if he wins the competition as a whole. So I'm going to ask you this question. What is the percentage that Russell Wilson, you've covered this team long enough to know how they operate. What is the percentage that the Pittsburgh Steelers would actually bench Russell Wilson if he does win the starting job, given that he just won the starting job?
Yeah, I would put it around like maybe 15% at the absolute highest. Like I just don't see a world where Russ is as bad as everyone thinks he is, because he has to be actively bad. He has to be actively hurting the team in order to get benched. And it has to be very, very painfully obvious. I think the Steelers got even the quarterback changes, that I've seen over the past 2 years, like Mitch Trubisky was that bad, but Kenny Pickett didn't get benched because he was bad necessarily. Like we can all have our qualms with, we can all have our opinions about Kenny Pickett and, whether he was supported or not or whatever, but he didn't get benched because of his performance. He got benched because he was injured and because of someone else's performance. And I think that's kind of the only avenue I can really see this going down, like this scenario playing out, is Russ gets hurt, Justin comes in, plays really well, and they ride the hot hand. Like I think it would really, really take a lot for Russell Wilson to get benched. Whether that be his own, he'd have to be throwing an interception or two a game in order, I think, for the Steelers to move on from him. And even then, I don't think it would be before, week 6 or week 7. It might not even be before the bye week if that happens. I think the Steelers are going to give him a decently long leash, especially. And I don't know if the contract situation changes that. Like, if anything, I feel like that motivates them to keep Fields under wraps, Like, I think they have an opinion about Justin Fields already. And it's really just about what kind of price point they're going to be able to get him for or extend him for. And Justin Fields sitting on the bench for longer, like that drives his costs down. Like every additional snap that he takes, I think only increases the price that you're going to have to pay for him. So I don't really think the contract situation plays into it either.
There's look at the 1 point whatever vet minimum. You got Russ for a steal. That means you have no investment to him. Okay, you had a massive investment in Kenny Pickett. Massive. First round as big of an investment as an investment gets in the NFL. You were ready to bench him for Russell Wilson, who cost you literally nothing. It has nothing to do with the Pittsburgh Steelers investment or their salary or what they want to do in the future. It has 100% to do with they are trying to win a Super Bowl in 2025 or in 2024. They want to win a Super Bowl this year. They are going to do whatever it takes to win a Super Bowl in 2024. I'm sure that was their pitch to every single free agent, to every single draft pick, to every single coach that they hired. Was we are looking to win a Super Bowl right now. We're not waiting. We're not looking into the future. This is win now or bust. It has nothing to do with you wanting to see Justin Fields next season or you having to see what you have in him before you sign him to another deal. None of that matters. Like, Justin Fields isn't going to demand $25 million a year next year. He's just not. Like, nobody wanted him this year. He was a guy that at one point we were talking about go give everything up for Justin Fields. And then that became nobody wanted Justin Fields. So the Steelers got him for a conditional 6th round pick, which means that he hits free agency. He's not making $25 million a year. That's just not happening. You're going to get guys like, first off, the draft class this year or in 2025, I guess, has, as of right now, 3 or 4 quarterbacks that people will take above a 26-year-old veteran who is 10-28 in the NFL and is coming off a season where he's sitting on the bench. You're not going to have a huge market for yourself in free agency. The Steelers are in the best control possible for what they could do with Justin Fields. You're dead on. Having him sit on the bench only makes things easier for them in 2025, especially if they could convince him, hey, look it, dude, you're going to get the starting job next year. Just sign with us. Just, sign a 2-year deal, get it cheap. And then in 2 years, you could have a massive contract in front of you, and you're only 28 years old. All right, cool. Sounds good to me. Better than going somewhere else on a worse team, because that's the other part of this is the Pittsburgh Steelers are a good organization right now. Where are you going to go? You can go to Cleveland, where things are rough. You're going to go to the Giants, who are even worse case scenario. Like, you're going to go to a bad team, make your situation even worse. Pittsburgh makes too much sense. They could care less about the contract, just like you said. Russ has got to throw multiple interceptions. It has to be clear as day that he is the problem with the team. That is the only way, and I have a hard time believing that that's going to be the case.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, everyone just keeps talking about Russ being bad as if that's some kind of foregone conclusion, and I don't. It's really weird to kind of default to that. Like, it's not. Oh, if Russ struggles, it's when Russ struggles. Like, I don't know, man. I don't really buy that, especially at this point in the year. I just don't think that's gonna really happen. No. Maybe it does, but I wouldn't bet on it.
No, here's a good tweet. I saw this from somebody yesterday. I'm gonna say this last name wrong, but we all know I'm terrible with names. Jennifer Piacenti. I don't know. I work with her, so I apologize. Sometimes I think about how Russell Wilson tossed 26 touchdowns, had the same passing completion percentage as Josh Allen, and had the 7th best passer rating amongst quarterbacks with 15 plus starts, and still got benched last season. Like, I don't know, man. Russ probably not as great as he once was. Has his issues, obviously. Hard to sit here and say that Russell Wilson is just up, it's over, career's done, he's going to stink. Like, you could have your thoughts about him, but really it comes down to he is the easiest quarterback to make hot takes about right now, and therefore people are going to make hot takes about Russell Wilson. That's just how it goes. Because he's in Pittsburgh, which is a hot market, he is the new starting quarterback in Pittsburgh, which is obviously going to make it even more impressive or more headline-y. And to be quite frank, people are over the Josh Allen thing, so he's not the hottest name to bag on or make hot takes about anymore. It's just going to be Russ. Like, that's where we are. I agree with you. 15% is as high as I think I'm going, and I think honestly, I think less. Like, I think if you said 0, I'd be like, yeah, that's almost realistic. That's where we are at Russ. Too early. Stop talking about it. We'll address them as they come in, but don't sit here thinking Russell Wilson's going to stink until he proves that, well, he stinks. So we'll get there.